Welcome to Talk Music Talk. I am Boyce, and this is my podcast. On today's episode, I am in discussion with indie singer-songwriter Eyre. I had never heard of Eyre before until I was coming from my producer's studio where I had just finished working on the theme song for Talk Music Talk, which you hear throughout the show. And Eyre was busking at the Barclays stop in Brooklyn. I was totally blown away by his music, took his website, checked it out when I got home. Not only did I love his music, I loved his blog where he was very vulnerable and candid about his move from California to New York to pursue his dreams and all his struggles he writes about. And yet through it all, he's very positive and upbeat and motivating. We talk about that. We also talk about him being on Judge Judy when he was a kid. Yes, you will have to stick around to find that out. And after the interview, he does a short acoustic performance on guitar, which is amazing. After that, Coda, where I will be discussing some last-minute information and call to action and all that other jazz. I hope you enjoy this interview with Eyre. So, Eyre, welcome. Glad to have you on today. How are you doing?
Good, man. Thank you. I'm glad to be here, man. Thank you.
Sure. I appreciate you doing it. I first heard of you, this was a few weeks ago when you were at Barclays.
Yeah.
Yes, you were performing. I was coming from the studio doing the theme song for the podcast.
Okay.
So I guess it was kind of fortuitous that I would see you. But the train was coming, I caught a glimpse of you, and I looked at your website. Like, I saw your website. I'm like, okay, I'm going to check them out when I get home.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were great. Like, people were actually standing around, which takes a lot to do in New York.
And I appreciate that because I know how easy it is to lose a person's attention like that.
Yeah.
So, when I do my thing and there's actually people watching and paying attention, I love that, and I'm just glad to get that love.
Yeah. So I imagine would be nervous busking. Is it how long you been doing that?
It's funny. Only maybe about 2 or 3 months.
Oh, okay, cool.
And I was, there was a part of me that wanted to do it, but I was a little scared to go out there and put myself out there. So, situations and events will sometimes force you to do your thing.
Yeah,
so.
Which I guess we'll get into some of the situations. So you're from, as we talked, from Pittsburgh, California. Tell me about that. You were born.
Born in Pittsburgh, California. It's about as small as a penny. It's a really small city. It's named after Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, because it revolved around the steel mill out there.
Yeah.
When I was young, I ended up moving to another small town called Galt.
Okay.
And
where's Galt?
Galt is probably about 30 minutes south of San Francisco, Sacramento.
Okay.
Sorry. So, kind of grew up there, and we moved right before I started high school to Stockton, California, which is, you may not know, but it had the #1 crime rate in the city back in, I think, 2007.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Because you got to win at something, right?
Yeah, right. So, it was, it was the people that I ended up going to school with and stuff were cool. It was a great place, but I did not want to be there.
Yeah.
I had all the people I grew up with in going to high school in my previous school.
Yeah.
Football, I did football there and everything. Okay. And that was another thing. So I was on a team that was undefeated for 2 years. Moved to a school where their team was defeated for 12 years.
Okay.
So I kind of just got out of football.
Yeah.
And that's really when I started getting more into music. And I really devoted most of my time in choir.
Okay.
At this other school.
So was there a desire while you were playing football to one day I want to do music, or was it always there?
It was like I've always been a singer. I was always singing. I guess it was just something that, thank God I was gifted with, but it wasn't nothing that I focused on at the time. There was, thoughts about, oh, you're a great singer. People will tell me that. But, I was really into football. And I think I kind of thank my mom for moving me to Stockton because, even though, I wanted to be around the people that I grew up with, that forced me to get into what I think was my purpose.
Okay.
So.
Cool. Yeah. So, so I know in your blog, on your website, you had that you auditioned for the choir, right? Is that what you did? You'd audition for a choir, and that's how you got into the...
Yeah. So, again, this is when I was a real young kid. I think back in Pittsburgh, I had a teacher in like 4th or 5th grade who forced me to get into the choir there and do a solo. And this was like the first time I think I had ever really been on stage.
Yeah. What grade were you in? Or you
I was real young. I know I was still in elementary school, so I was young. But she made me do Stand By Me.
Oh, okay.
And oh man, I remember the nerves. This was like the first time I'd ever been on stage. And I don't think I've been back on stage for a long while after that.
Stage fright? Or, yeah.
Excuse me. But that I guess you could say that really affected me for a while. But I mean, it was good, but
did you have to perform the song or for an audience? Or
it was basically in front of the whole school.
Okay.
It was.
How'd you do it?
I mean,
in your memory,
in my memory, there were clapping, even though they were mostly parents and kids, But I was so focused on like what was going on with me, the nerves and shaking. It's always that left leg shaking, But yeah, I mean, it was a great experience. Just I guess at the time I was too young to really comprehend it. So yeah.
So from there, so you performed, and then you didn't perform for a while, right?
No, that's when I started getting more into football.
Okay. Okay, so it was like a sandwich. So you performed with this teacher, had you perform Stand By Me, football, and then get back into it.
And then I got back into it. Okay. And I guess you can say that's kind of where, like, because I didn't really realize that music was a thing for me until my senior year in high school. I was still in choir. I did choir all throughout high school. I actually made the honors choir in the county there 2 years in a row. And it was then, because I think our senior year, there's a part where you have to do something you've never done before to graduate. You can't graduate until you...
I've not heard that. That's cool.
Yeah. What is it? Senior project or whatever? So... I thought I was going to go gung-ho and be like, okay, well, I'm going to do an album and do this and do that. And did not realize how much goes into making an album. It's a process. It's a big process. Yeah. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to do that. Let's just start off small. I wanted to learn piano. And I really got into piano. I started playing. And, once I finished my project, graduated, I realized that this was something I really wanted to pursue. Yeah. So after that, that's when I moved to Los Angeles.
Okay. So I started out playing clarinet, which I could never learn to read music. I would play by ear, and then trombone. So I can imagine, like, starting learning. That's considered kind of late, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So was it hard to pick up, or that just conditioned thinking that we have?
One thing that I've always felt strongly about, I think we're all capable of doing what it is that we choose to do. It's never too late. Yeah. I know this sounds so cliche, but it's really never too late. If you want to do something and you're really excited about it and you just stay focused on it, you'll get it. I never thought that I would actually learn guitar. It's been 3 years.
Okay, so that's great.
Again, it was hard in the very beginning because piano and guitar are two different instruments. You can see what it is you're doing on piano. Guitar, it's it's a whole different ball game. Plus, it kind of hurts in the beginning.
Yeah,
you got to get those calluses going. But it's if you really enjoy doing what you do, then it doesn't matter. So I mean, I think it all depends on what it is that you're trying to do or what it is that you want to do, and you'll get it.
Okay, great. So did you have any kind of goals or like where it might take you, or were you when you started playing piano?
When I started playing piano, no, it was kind of more like because moms always loved to play like old school stuff. So like I grew up on like the Luther Vandrosses and the Leverts and Tony Condition, all these from like the early 70s to the 90s.
Yeah.
And so like back then it was just about learning songs that I loved to sing. I think one of the first songs, which was pretty early at that time, was John Legend's "So High."
Okay.
It's a beautiful, beautiful song, and I just wanted to learn that song. You know how you just you just wanted to learn it, and from there, I just started learning a bunch of other stuff, and then when I started college, I actually started taking piano classes classically, and that's where I got more involved in like the theory and all that stuff. We learned theory in choir, of course you have to, but in high school you're not really
focused on that.
You're not really focused on that. You trying to go to parties, you trying to hang out with your friends and stuff. So yeah.
Where'd you go to college at?
I haven't finished, unfortunately. I know that's a little embarrassing.
No.
But I started off in LA. I started going to LA Valley College, and then and I should point that out. It's all one district. So it's like 5 different schools within the district. Yeah. So if you can't get the class here, you get to go here. So Valley College, Pierce College, and Los Angeles City College.
Okay.
So yeah, I did that, and I'm still pursuing a degree in communications.
Okay. So were you was that your major then, or music?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's funny because everyone's like, why would you choose that and not go into music? Well, I felt at the time my biggest weakness was public speaking or being in front of people on stage, or So I figured, I said, well, communications, they deal with radio, they deal with being on the news, they deal with public speaking. It's like that's where I need to go to get this whatever, again, this feeling, whatever it is, the left leg shaking. Maybe pursuing it there will get that stronger.
Okay. You should try Toastmasters. Have you?
Toastmasters.
Yes, I'm doing that now. It's a national group where you learn how to public speak or polish your public speaking skills. But it's pretty good. Yeah, I have to tell you about.
Toastmaster. Write that down.
Yeah, I will. That'll be in the show notes. So let's see. So you went to school there. How did you get from? What happened then? When did you move to New York? That was 9 months ago, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So how long ago? What was the timeline from you going to school in California?
So I moved to LA in 2007. I lived there. For what? 6 years. 6 years. And just doing the same thing. At that time, I had my uncle lives there, and he was at the time in a band. They called themselves MSP.
Okay.
They're no longer together. They need to be, but they're no longer together. But during that time, they were doing a lot of shows. They already had a couple albums out, so I was doing a lot of piggybacking off them, a lot of background on their recordings and their work. And when they performed shows, I was on stage doing the background harmonies and whatnot, and just being in the fillers and the hype man, as you call it. It was amazing. And when they broke up, that's when I kind of got into it. Okay, I need to go ahead and do this on my own and get my own networks and build this for myself. Yeah. So I think the first 2 years living there, that's when I started really getting into my own work as a solo artist.
Okay. So you were singing. Did you ever sing lead with them, or you were just more like supporting them?
I did sing on a couple of their songs. Why can't I think of the names of them right now? They have a couple. Open Your Eyes is one of them. My uncle, his name is Enut.
Okay.
What is his artist name? He on his last album, he has a couple that I actually produced, written on, and sung on as well.
Okay, great.
All of Your Body is one of them. Life Struggles, Hands in the Air. That was one of the ones I produced, and he loved it, and he was just like, "Give it to me, I want it." So I was like, "Of course."
Okay. So was he like a mentor for you in music, or had he been encouraging you?
Well, yeah. Growing up, he definitely was the one, always in my ear, telling me, just stay focused and get it in. Don't worry about your surroundings.
Mm-hmm.
Don't trip off anything negative. Just stay focused. Do what you do. And he really was the one who helped me. I mean, I've always been my own person, but he was always the one, that I would look to when I was younger. So, of course, it was easy going to LA. He lived in LA.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, it was easy going there and following him.
Yeah. So what was life like in LA as compared to, say, Pittsburgh?
Oh, my God. It was, it was heaven. The sun's always shining, first off. So, I mean, it's believe it or not, the Bay Area can get pretty cold. San Francisco is so windy. Like I love the city, but I cannot stand it's always windy.
Yeah.
And that's something that just can't do it. But I mean, LA, besides the weather, I mean, it's you basically have pretty much everything. You go on one side of the mountain, you got the North Hollywood, everything's like cool, like sedacious. The valley. You cross that mountain and you got Hollywood, you got the city, everything is live and busting, and it was a really amazing experience for me, just experiencing that, because Pittsburgh is very small.
Yeah.
There's I don't want to say there's nothing going on, shout out to Pittsburgh, but it's a really small town. Everyone practically knows everyone there, and a lot of the stuff that you would see on TV was basically what was going on in LA. So it was a really great experience for me to see that. And I think it also helped me to, even though I didn't know it at the time, I think it was it helped me prepare for moving here.
Okay.
So
were you the archetype of a small town boy coming from Pittsburgh? Was there any like shock from LA, or did it feel? Because I know sometimes it's like you could be in a small town, but you want that being a bigger town, so it feels natural.
I didn't know I wanted to be in a bigger town until I got there.
Okay.
When I seen it when I seen LA for the first time, I was like, I didn't even know this was real. Like I didn't even I can't even imagine not being here.
Yeah.
So it's funny because. I'm kind of embarrassed to say this. The first time I had ever been to LA, it was because I was on Judge Judy.
Oh, really? Okay.
I was on Judge Judy.
Okay.
And I don't brag about that at all, because if you ever see it, I'm like this 14-year-old little kid with big old glasses on, and I'm nervous, of course.
So you were, someone sued you, or you were being sued, or you were just watching it?
My family was suing.
Oh, okay.
Another person.
Okay. What was this about? You
can speak general. Put it out there.
Yeah,
as well. So one of the main reasons we moved from Galt to Stockton was because we had a situation with a neighbor who basically was racist.
Okay.
It was a racist situation. Okay. And I mean, after the fact, we got over it, but it was a situation where the guy was being pretty violent with me and my brother.
Oh, okay. Like
and
physical?
My mom was just like, I'm not having it.
Yeah, physical violence? Or?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So she was like, I'm not having it. Sold the house and moved.
Okay. How long was that? How long did that go on?
That was like 2002.
Okay. And how long did that go, like, he moved into the neighborhood, or you guys moved there?
We moved there, and we didn't actually start having issues because I think we lived there for a while.
Okay. Was this a mostly white neighborhood, or was it mostly white? Okay.
White Latino.
Okay.
Latino. But I don't think it would have been a big problem if the guy literally wasn't across the street.
Okay.
That was basically the situation, and yeah, again, that was where I grew up. So for me, I didn't see it as much.
Mm-hmm.
I was more into my friends at school and all this and that. But when we came home, it was always an issue.
Okay.
Always something going on. So
would he confront you, or what?
He basically came on our house, on our grounds.
Yeah.
Choked out my little brother.
Really?
He's 9 at the time. This guy is in his 40s. Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah. So, I had to be big brother because my parents weren't there.
Yeah.
And I had to handle that.
Mm-hmm.
And when my
and how did you handle that?
Oh yeah, I had to. He was about the same height as me. I've been the same height since I'm
like birth or something.
Yeah, I've been the same height since what, middle school.
Yeah.
So I had to. My brother is in his hand,
mm-hmm.
In the air kicking.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, you finna get hurt right now.
Yeah.
You're here. You're on my property. You need to go. So I'm grabbing him. I'm choking him out. He's choking my brother out at the same time. We're fighting, and was
anybody watching this? Did anyone see that?
At the time, no, because we had a pretty big house. It was on the corner too, so unless you were just happened to be turning that corner,
you wouldn't have seen it.
No, you wouldn't have seen it. But I had to handle that. Finally, he I guess he started thinking, and he dropped my brother.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God. I didn't want to fight this guy, and he left. But when my folks heard about that, they were like, okay, we're done.
Mm-hmm.
And so, my mom felt that he needed to pay for our moving expenses.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I don't even know how it ended up happening that we ended up on Just Shitty, but I guess they called us, or I don't know how that worked. But all I know is that my mom wanted to sue this guy, and we ended up going to LA for the show.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I had ever been to LA, and I was like, I'm coming back. I'm like 13, 14 at this time, and I'm like, I'm coming back here. And I sure did. After high school, I moved there.
So how was, you remember the Judge Judy experience?
That was one of those ones. It was just like that first time on stage. There was cameras everywhere.
Yeah.
And there's this big podium where she's sitting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm starstruck and struck at the fact that there's so many cameras in the room. Lights everywhere, and just experiencing that, and it was a really fun experience. But I was so nervous. I don't think I was actually there in the moment of it, especially being so young, But
how long? That's a long experience that they condensed down to.
Yeah, I think the show was actually. At the moment, I can't really think. I would say it was at least about an hour.
Okay.
But it's condensed down to a 30-minute show.
Yeah.
Of course. But yeah, I know we were there for at least a good 45 minutes to an hour.
Okay. Did you win?
We did.
Okay.
We did win.
Great. So he had to pay for your moving.
Basically, small claims, so you know how that works. But yeah, they basically paid for moving expenses, and I was so bummed. I did not want to leave.
Yeah.
But we moved.
And how far is Galt?
From Stockton?
Yeah.
About 30 minutes.
Okay.
About 30, 45 minutes away. South. I think south.
Okay.
So if you look at a map, it's Sacramento, Galt, a couple cities, and then Stockton.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay, so it was you, your mom, and your brother. How old was your brother? Younger brother, older brother?
Moving to Stockton, I was 14. My brother, I think, was about 10.
Okay.
About 10 years old. My baby sister, she was so young. She was so young at the time.
So it's just the two other siblings? Or?
Me and my brother. I'm the oldest.
Okay.
It's my younger brother, my baby sister, and my baby brother.
Okay.
So, and...
How was Stockton?
You know, I have a love-hate relationship with Stockton. I love the fact that when I moved there, the friends that I made, they're so amazing. But it was just such a wild time during that time. I mean, it was so wild. There's so much that was going on back then. Back then, it was like a couple years before the housing market crash. So a lot of people were just moving there. A lot of people from the Bay Area, surprisingly, because of the cheaper housing, you know. So, you know, we were getting new people in school like every other month. You know, of course, high school drama, and all that good stuff. And
were you popular?
I knew everybody, but I didn't hang out with everybody.
Yeah.
I was always kind of like to myself, but I always had like a little group of friends that I would hang out with or kick it with. But as far as like, you know, being in like any of the activities in school, no, I don't think I was in anything.
Did you start at football yet, or?
This is when I thought about playing.
Yeah.
Twice I thought about playing. For my high school there, Bear Creek, by the way. Shout out.
Okay, Bear Creek. Much love to Bear Creek.
But it wasn't even the fact that the team was so challenged as far as like winning, but a lot of our teammates,
individually,
just couldn't make it happen.
Yeah.
So I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna channel my energy elsewhere.
What did you play?
I was pretty quick. So like, you know, I played running back for some time, but I also love defense. So
that means nothing to me.
Okay. So like
I asked, but
okay. So
like maybe I don't know.
Offense, touchdowns.
Yeah.
Okay. Defense, they stop that, right?
Okay.
So the running back is basically the guy who's carrying the ball, and you know he's trying to run for a touchdown. I was tall, so a lot of my coaches wanted me to play wide receiver, but as you could tell, I'm blind. I got like 4-5 eyes, you know. So I was always wearing my glasses, so I always had this blind spot I couldn't catch.
Okay.
And but I was fast, so they would let me run the ball, but I also love defense. So I would play corner back before. I played corner before. I did safety. I loved safety. But I was quick off the line too. So like there were times when they would like surprise the team, put me in as either nose guard or as the guard, and just get in for a sack. And if you don't know what a sack is when somebody on the defense tackles the quarterback before he throws the ball off.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Before I moved to Stockton, my last year playing for Gaul, I made 36 sacks in 1 year.
That's a good thing, right? That's a good thing? Okay.
That was, man, that was nice. That was nice. I miss it. But yeah.
So you graduated from Stockton? Or?
I did.
Okay.
Bear Creek in 07. I graduated then. Gosh, I'm old. 07.
So where your family still there? Where's your family?
Most of my family is still in Pittsburgh, actually. My mom is still in Stockton.
Okay.
My younger brother and my uncle is still in Los Angeles. So I actually have family throughout. Not in Galt no more, but Pittsburgh, Stockton, and LA.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what point, so you moved out? When you graduated, you moved out, or? Yeah,
I was done with Stockton. I love y'all, but I had to go. I moved to LA, I think right after, about a couple months after I graduated.
Okay. And how was that? Where were you working? Where were you
Yeah.
where you lived? And
I had a gig where I was in basically food, doing like cashier, barista, all that stuff. And thank God the job was transferable. So I just transferred from where I was working in Stockton to LA.
Okay.
And I was a good boy at the time. I was in school full time, working full time. I didn't really have time for nothing else but that. And then because I was, I already had where I was living at was with my uncle, so I didn't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
Just worry about those two things and music. And they were doing their thing, and I was piggybacking off them.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So at what point, I know in your blog you said at one point you didn't have a home,
Yeah. So basically, I was already on my own. This is after I moved. I think back in 2009, I had gotten my own place and whatnot. I was still in college. Actually, no. I took some time off from college just to figure out what it is that I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to pursue music, but I didn't know like how I wanted to pursue it yet. So I took some time off from school and just started working and putting some ideas together and stuff. And I think after my third year in my apartment, we had a bad rain. LA doesn't rain much, so like when it did rain, the buildings are bad, and my roof caved in.
Oh, okay.
Basically, it caved in. So, I had to basically pay for my own hotel expenses. I had to replace all of my furniture and stuff. And I was, I had a disagreement with the landlords, and it was time for me to go. And so, basically I had, I had dealt with that, and I had to pretty much stay with family again.
Yeah. What was the disagreement about the damages? Or?
They didn't want to basically pay for my expenses.
Okay.
And so what I wanted to do is take it out of what I was paying for, because the new month's coming in. Rent, of course. But I'm like, well, I just paid $800 or so for 2 weeks at a hotel that I had to pay for.
Yeah.
I'm still, and at this time, I actually was in school. I had just started going back to school, and paying for school and everything. So I have a lot of stuff going on, and I'm like, and now I have this to deal with too.
Yeah.
Like, no, I can't. Financially, I just can't do it. And so they didn't want to work with me, and then I was like, well, it's time to go.
Yeah.
It's time to go. So at the time, I was staying with family again. And, there was...
Back with your uncle or another?
I don't want to say, only because what I'm finna say next is kind of... I don't want to put nobody down.
Okay,
but,
so person X, you're staying with person X.
There was a situation where we just didn't get along.
Okay.
And I had to leave. And so for that time frame, for a couple months, I was... I will say I had options to... go stay with other family, other relatives. But, dealing with that, I did not want to possibly go through the same thing again. And then I felt, too, I'm only prolonging the situation. Like, I need to go out and get back on my own, on 2 feet. And so for a couple months, I was technically legally homeless.
Okay. So were you still going to work and you were homeless?
Yeah, I still, I still had a job. I wasn't sure if it was going to be enough because I had nothing saved. I had just, of course, gone through so much with that apartment and paying for that. Plus, I had to pay for the moving expenses. And I think that's when I actually learned of the definition of having a nest egg. Yeah. Because I didn't at the time. And I learned a lot. I will say, it's a very learning experience. But at that time, the good thing about it, I was actually able to save at that time because I wasn't paying for rent or whatnot. And So basically it was just like grinding, going to work. When I got off work, I had all my stuff in like storage.
Okay.
And, I would get as much sleep as I could there for a couple hours, get back up.
Yeah.
There was a couple little late night places you can go, cafes and stuff. So basically when I wasn't at work, I was working.
Yeah.
So, get on the laptop, figure everything out. That was the time when I started planning a lot of what I'm doing now. Establishing myself as a business, growing as an artist, writing everything down and planning everything, setting goals for myself.
Yeah.
That is when, at first when I started writing about it, I was like, do I really want to like put this out there? Because this is a vulnerable.
Yeah.
You're exposing yourself.
Yeah.
But I look back at it. It was such a learning experience, and that's how I look at life. When you're going through something, you're going through it because you either need to learn a lesson or you didn't learn the lesson the first time.
Yeah.
So that is basically, I look at it as a learning lesson.
Yeah.
And, I put it out there on the blog because if anyone is going through the same thing or attempting to achieve something or anything of that sort, I put it out there because I want people to know that if whatever it is that you want to do is in your heart, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy, and you have to. I think Will Smith said it a lot too. First what do you say? What is it? Make the choice, and then decide to do what it is.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be easy, and it's how bad do you want it? How bad do you really want it? Are you willing to go through the downs when there are downs, and be humble in the ups?
Yeah.
So I put it out there, but I'm not really ashamed of it because it made me a stronger person.
Yeah.
I know now that I can survive.
Yeah.
If it all goes dark today or tomorrow, I know I'm gonna make it.
Yeah.
So
did you always have that attitude about life, or that being homeless
it's
gave you
learned.
that?
It's really learned. I've gone through. A lot of people tell me like, "Oh, you're really an old soul," but I really blame it on my experiences. I grew up really fast, young. I had to. There were times when my parents weren't around a lot, and they were taking care of us, but they weren't there to take care of us. So I had to step up and be that to my brother and sister.
Physically, they weren't there, or emotionally?
Well, yeah. I mean, a lot of the time, growing up, my parents worked a lot.
Okay. So it's more like latchkey and.
Sorry?
You were like latchkey kids, or you were taking care of?
No, just my brother and sister. Like,
okay.
When I came, I would work part time. I have my own little thing. I've had the work mentality since I was 12.
Yeah.
I've paper route, starting off first job, then going on further and further. But when my parents couldn't be home to make dinner or to make sure that my brother and sister were doing what they were supposed to do in school, stuff like that, I would have to take that on.
Okay.
And, I hated it because, I wanted to be the one out playing with my friends and, going to all the parties and stuff like that. But I think it really helped me learn a lot. And, I think I learned a lot of stuff that most of the people my age at the time would have never even, considered or even thought about, especially like responsibility and stuff like that. So in a way, again, back then it sucked, because I really don't feel that I was able to be that kid that really just was able to be a kid. But I learned from it, and I think now that I have, you were talking about that I always have that look out on life. Yeah, it's learned. It really was a learned process.
But I think what's unique about you, because so I went to your website when I heard you play, and I went to your website, and then what I found unique was that your attitude was quite positive, because a lot of people could have had those situations happen to them and be very bitter, very negative. Well, why should I even try my dreams? All that.
Right. I've always had this philosophy that everything happens for a reason, and you're not here to. And this is my opinion. Everyone has their own opinion about life and everything, but you have a choice to either make this your life is life. It's gonna happen regardless, but it's all about how you view it. You can view it as hell, and be like, well, why am I just gonna deal with it or whatnot?
Yeah.
Or you can deal with it as being in school. You're being taught something. Why is this going on? I always ask myself, if something negative is happening with me, I say, why is this happening? And I always blame myself. What did I do to put myself in this situation? And if you think about it like that, you will always find something that you can grow from. If you start blaming others, and I'm not perfect. There have been times I'm like, you know what? This person did this, and this is why I'm here. But when you really sit back and think about it, you're just like, well, he's not here. Yeah. I am. So what is it that I'm doing, or what is it that I did to put myself in this situation? If you think about it like that, you will always grow. Yeah. And then a side effect that happens, you kind of laugh at everything. Yeah. I kind of laugh at everything, good or bad. And it's because I feel that I'm being taught something. Yeah. I feel that, you, especially when you get something out of it, and you're like, you know what, I could have did that, or maybe if I had did that differently, or maybe if I had saw that coming, my gut told me that this wasn't right, and I didn't listen, and I do a lot of that, talking with myself, and
same here. And it's a different question, like your question of asking, why is this happening, as opposed to, well, what am I supposed to learn from, as opposed to why me? Yeah. Because why me? I mean, well, because you can't even get an answer for it.
Well, again, I started off with that question, why me? Yeah. Well, we're all good at something. We really, and I know that's a quote somewhere. I don't know who said it, but we're all good at something. We just have to really sit down and think about, what it is. What do we enjoy doing? Yeah. And I think the only way, once you find out what it is that you enjoy doing, it's your responsibility to get there. Yeah. And by that being said is, that whole why me, I feel like once you find out what it is that you're supposed to be doing with yourself, everything else is a test to harden you, to make you stronger, to put you, to become the person that you need to be to do the thing that you're supposed to be doing. You look at some people, and I won't, I'm not going to name any names. But like, for example, I plan to be working for a very long time in music. Yeah. You see a lot of people that just come out of nowhere and they're superstars. Yeah. They don't know how to deal with it. And it's because they don't have those challenges. They don't have that
it's like
experience,
skip steps.
The steps to handle it. And it's rough. I'm not going to say it's easy. Sometimes I'm like, dude, what really? For real? This is really going on right now? No. But had you not had that experience, and it happened when you had the fame, the money, the influence, the power, and you didn't have that experience, would you have the knowledge to handle it then? Or would that be your downfall? Yeah. So it's really all about how you look at it. Yeah. So.
Well, why do you think so many people never actually find out what it is that they're good at?
I've had people tell me that they want to do this or they want to do that, and they've had some lame ass excuses of why they're not pursuing it. Yeah. And some of the excuses are, because I can't afford to do this, or I can't afford to do that, or or like I don't have time to do this, or I don't have time. I don't have a lot of time to do a lot of things either. I'm a full-time student. I have a day job. Yeah. You know, that I have to, like, as of right now, I have to fit networking with other people. I have to street perform because that's a job too. You know, my day job, of course. You know, I have chores and stuff. Like, I'm a regular person. I have clothes I need to wash. I don't have nobody paying me or to pay for that. I have, you know, stuff at home. You know, so we all have life, but at the same time, you have to, you know, are you worried about being comfortable, or are you worried about seeing what it is that you want to do? We're all good at something, and I think deep down we all know what it is that we naturally are to do.
Because I think that if you're scared to, that fear plays a part into it, and
it's a big fear thing. It really is a big fear thing, and you know, it's an everyday thing. I'm scared a lot of the times. You know, I mean, that's not the only time I've been near homeless. You know what I mean? So, you know, hitting, and that's another thing. You know, I've already hit rock bottom. I know how it feels. I know how to handle it emotionally, mentally. You really have to be your own support. You know, when they're, because, you know, you don't have a lot of friends when you're homeless. You really don't. Because you're homeless. You wouldn't be homeless if you had friends. You know what I mean? You really wouldn't be. So I think you have to, the reason why some people don't find it what it is that they want to do is because they're scared to. They're scared because once they find out what it is they have to do, then they have a duty, I feel, to God and to achieve what it is that you've found. It's like you've opened the box, you see what's there, now you go get it. And if you don't go get it, then life is going to punish you. You're going to, you know, you're going to work a dead-end job. You're going to go in and out. And you might be like, oh, I'm comfortable. Well, when you get up there where you're like, where you can't really do it anymore, you know, then that's where all those regrets come in. And I refuse to be that person. I don't ever want to be that person. I've seen it, and it hurts. It hurts me to see another person like that. You know, so you know, another thing that I hope anybody gets from me, from my music, from my blog, or anything of that sort, is to never give up on what it is that you want to do. You have it. It's there. You just have to really sit down with yourself and find it. And when you find it, go after it. Don't give up. And, you know, that's, if anything else, believe it, achieve it, see it, do it.
Okay.
Get it.
I like that.
So,
great. Well, I think that's a good way to end. You're going to do a song, which I'm very excited about. So tell me about your music, a little about, like, your song. You do originals, you do covers.
I've been doing a lot of covers lately, but my goal between now and this time next year is to have an EP out. I'm working on that now. It is just me right now, so I'm trying to work with other people to get this thing moving a little bit faster. I'm actually thinking about starting a Kickstarter program. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it just yet for this particular project, but you know, that has been on my mind as well. But you know, I write a lot of my original stuff from my past. You know, music for me has been something that's gotten me through the good and the bad. And I just think that the genuine emotions, my goal for my music is to express those emotions, like some of the stuff I've gone through, because I know I'm not the only one who goes through them. You know, so I mean, my thing is to let everyone know that I know what it feels like, or you know, it's not always about struggle, but at this point in my life, it needs to be expressed.
Great. And where's a good place for people to get in touch with Eyre?
You can find all of my work at www.IMIRE. The name is spelled EYRE. So you can, again, it's IMIRE.com.
Okay, great. Well, thank you, Eyre.
Thank you so much.
I enjoyed it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Sure.
Be strong and hold on to your love. God whisper this in my heart, yeah, from above. Can't you see what you mean to me? And I just can't let you leave without hearing me speak. And I don't wanna lose you. I refuse to sit here and let you leave like this. Don't wanna lose you, so I'm gonna fight for you. So listen, yeah. 'Cause love is the truth, yeah. Oh. We all ain't perfect, babe. I know I ain't. But I've always tried to please you in every way. Tell me what you need to stay. Whatever the price I'll pay, you're worth it. Everything you deserve it. Said you're worth it, and you deserve it. And I don't wanna lose you. I refuse to sit here and let you leave like this. Don't wanna lose you, so I'm gonna fight for you. So listen, yeah. 'Cause love is the truth, yeah. Oh. Be strong and hold on to your love.
And that was my interview with Eyre. Did I not tell you that he was very positive, upbeat, motivating, so inspiring? I hope you enjoyed that interview with Eyre. Eyre, like he said, is at IamIrie.com, EYRE. Check out his music and his blog so you can follow his story, follow his journey here in New York. As for me, you can follow my journey on the Talk Music Talk website, talkmusictalk.com. Also on Instagram at This Is Boyce. And if you're enjoying these episodes, if you're enjoying Talk Music Talk, please head on over to iTunes and leave a 5-star rating. That would be greatly appreciated. Till next time, because there will be a next time, this one's for you, Liz.